Hello, welcome to OKRs Fast. I'm Richard Russell. Today we're going to be going through an introduction to OKRs. It's 7 videos on what OKRs are and how you can use them. At the end of this, you'll have a good understanding of what OKRs are and how you can use them. This session is on why OKRs. What are the benefits? What are you really doing this for? And I really think this is important because if you don't focus on what you're trying to achieve, you don't get done the thing that you're trying to do. And with OKRs, there's a whole lot of talk about OKRs being a sort of a goal setting structure and focusing on the goals and how they're written and this mechanical process, and it tends to miss the point of what you're actually trying to get done. So I'm going to talk today about why OKRs, what are the benefits, and hope this will make a lot of sense. That will mean the rest of this process and what you're actually trying to do comes together better. So just as a reminder, OKRs stands for Objective and Key Results. It's just a way of writing a goal. You have the objective at the top here, this big block here. I use this little diagram quite frequently in my presentations to explain what an objective and key results are, to refer to them as a symbol, so we don't get distracted with words. And then the key results are down here. Now you might have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or sometimes more key results. This really defines success. Normally you should have 2 to 5 key results per objective, and maybe you have 1 objective, maybe you have 3 or 4, maybe 5 objectives, no more. But the thing is that this is what I've just described is a goal format, and there's a bit more to it. There's more to how you write these objectives and key results to make them useful. But the point with OKRs is it's not just a goal format. There's a whole lot more that goes on in OKRs that really help you to achieve what you want to achieve, and that's what I want to talk about. What are we doing OKRs for? So, to me, the biggest benefit, or the thing that we're doing with OKRs is turning vision into action. Really to execute the strategy. So most organizations have a vision or a strategy. We have some idea. So this vision is represented by the rocket and the stars here. Strategy by these wheels of how things fit together and which things are going to cause the results. And often managers and leaders have a clear idea of what their long-term vision is and what their strategy is. Sometimes they're quite good at communicating that, but it's usually a 2 to 3 to 5, 10-year strategy, 10-year vision, quite a long-term future. Now, in reality, in the rest of the organization, people are spending time on their daily plan of action. You have a team of people here. Maybe there's to-do lists, maybe there's project plans, there's Scrum, there's Kanban, there's some other agile process. But we're focused on today, the thing that we're doing now, what's our plan of action now to deliver this result, usually in a time frame of months, sometimes a year, but it's usually a bit shorter term than the vision and strategy. Now, what you really want to do here is connect these two things together with OKRs, or objectives and key results. I like to use them quarterly because I think it's a good cycle time to be able to have a clear vision of what we're trying to do, and we do some work and get things done. But this connects the vision and the strategy to the daily plan of action. What it's really doing here is we're saying that's our vision and strategy. Here's what we need to get done in this period of time, this 3 months, this quarter, all right? And then that can be used to empower a team or individuals to come up with ideas to figure out the right best plan of action, the best actions to take, the best initiatives, the best features to do to meet those, to deliver those objectives and deliver those key results, right? And so what you're doing is empowering people, but keeping them focused on the thing that's going to help you get towards the strategy. Right? Because what happens when you're stuck in the daily plan of action is you get distracted by all sorts of things. And the OKRs are all about keeping focused. So what that means in practice is, if you're familiar with this diagram, it's called the Eisenhower prioritization matrix. And what we have is on the left we have urgent things, and on the right we have not urgent things, and on the top we have important things, and on the bottom we have not important things. What happens in organizations is there are plenty of things that are urgent and important. We call them fires. We tend to put the effort into putting those out. Those don't tend to miss our attention. We tend to work on those, that's fine. But there's a whole lot of things that are urgent, like they're requiring your attention now, but are not actually important. These might be messages, they might be emails, they might be service requests, they might be just tasks that someone's asking you to do. There might be something interesting that looks useful, but it's just come up right now that someone wants to get done, but it's not that important. The other type that happens is things that are not urgent and not important, but they're interesting. We have an idea, we have something that we could explore or whatever, and people tend to spend more time on that than they should. And what suffers is these not urgent but important things. Now, OKRs are really about defining what they are and in fact creating a sense of urgency around them. What that means is that the attention that would normally go into the not important things that are urgent moves up to the not urgent but important things. We're trying to create people's focus on there. And also the things that are not important and not urgent, bring them up into the things that are important. And we're doing that through this communication method called OKRs. We're defining these things are important. And what we're doing is we're trying to get people to focus on that on a weekly basis so that they then create their plan of action driven primarily from the important line, from this important line at the top here, not from the bottom, the not important things. These not important things, if you don't do them, they don't matter. Even the urgent things, they don't really matter. What matters is the fires and getting things done, right? They're the things that matter in the organization, and you want to use this method to keep people focused on that. Now, to mention that OKRs are a communication tool, it really is about communication. This is not so much about creating a mechanical process that here's a metric and here's a target and here's a tracking device and we're automated tracking, all this sort of stuff. Some people get a bit confused about OKRs because that's what they think it's all about. It's not. It's really about communication. And what we're doing is at the start of the quarter, we're communicating these are our objectives and key results. We're sending them in an email. We have a poster stuck up, whatever it is. We're trying to communicate to people, this is what we're doing this quarter. This is what's important this quarter. But more than that, in the actual act of work, right, we have the meetings. So these meeting agendas, the items on the meeting agenda should really relate back to the OKRs. The ideally should be the objectives, right? Because if we're having a meeting about something, it must be something important. So either it's a fire that we've got to put out, it's something operational, or it should be an objective, or it should be a key result that we're trying to deliver. It should be a project that's helping us deliver those. So these agendas should be connected to our objectives and key results. And in fact, you can tell if people get their objectives and key results wrong because their meetings are not lined up with their objectives. So they have these meetings about other things where they talk about everything else. And then they have a meeting for OKRs, which feels like not real work. And what you need to do is make sure that your OKRs, your objectives are really the real work you want to carry out. And then you put them into your meeting agendas. And then you carry out the work. But more than that, whenever you have any kind of communication, you sort of embed the OKR in there because we're having a launch announcement, for example, in this newsletter. And this launch announcement, we obviously have some information about it, maybe some data and other things, but you'd also say, what objective are we trying to deliver with this launch announcement? Now, why are we doing that? It's because we want to celebrate the things that we're getting done and how they're helping us meet our objectives and deliver the key results, the things that matter for our company. But also we want to remind people, this is why we're doing this. We're doing this because we have an objective. It's important. That's why we're doing it, right? And when you can tell that this is when this is going really well, what happens is whenever people are talking about what they're doing, the activities that they're carrying out, the objectives and key results come up because that's actually how we define what we're working on and how we're planning. Why are we planning this? What are we trying to achieve? Let's go back to our objectives and key results and figure out what we're trying to do, and then we can know what our best plan of attack is. So I mentioned they're a communication tool because it's through communication that you drive change, you drive action, you drive people to form their agendas and their daily plans of action and all that sort of stuff. You influence behavior through communicating these OKRs, and that's what it's really about. As a side effect of this, OKRs help build culture. Because culture is really about how decisions are made. And so what you really want is for people to be spending their time in your organization, when they're talking about something related to business, it should be focused on the objectives that you've set out. Like, what are we trying to achieve here, and is what we're doing happening? And this conversation becomes just part of how decisions are made and part of our culture. Our culture is focused on the objective that we're trying to achieve, as opposed to some other sort of distraction. And these conversations shouldn't be about OKRs, but about the business. It's just that the OKRs provide the words, the context, and the meat to talk about, right? They provide the thing that we're trying to achieve. So they help us to structure these conversations. Now, I mentioned the OKRs, I've talked about this a bit, and in the context of leadership or leading an organization, but it's not just for managers. There are many other parts of an organization that do leadership. So don't think about this in terms of just an org chart and just managers doing this. Any part of any leader in an organization can do this. And the leader might be an individual contributor, like a product manager or a project manager, some sort of initiative leader. It could be someone wanting to make a change in an organization who has an objective to achieve, right? And you want to influence the rest of the organization. One of the great ways to do this is to put together the objective and the key results you're trying to achieve, because that helps you get these things done. When thinking about this, I've got my favorite quote on leadership is this one. Leadership is a process of social influence which maximizes the efforts of others towards the achievement of a goal. OKRs are really about setting that goal, communicating that goal, and helping to that process of social influence that maximizes the efforts of others to get to that goal. And that's what I think leadership's about. So that's why leadership can be anywhere in the organization. It happens especially at the top of an organization, but anyone in the organization can lead. So that's sort of why OKRs and how that affects your culture and what we're trying to achieve with OKRs. The next session's more about what are OKRs. I'll see you soon. If you found this presentation interesting and you'd like to see more, there is more. I have on my website all of the video trainings in one easy to access form. Under the video training, you can go to my website. It looks a bit like this, richardrussell.co/OKRs. You'll also find with the video training, when you sign up for that, there's access to PDF guides on how to use this, like cheat sheets almost. We go through a full OKR cycle, a walkthrough of what you need to do when, including some tips on how to set OKRs. There's an email newsletter which will keep you up to date with all the latest content, and including some interviews that I'll be doing with people. And you'll get access to discounted live workshops that will come through the email mailing list. So go to my website and you can get that for free, whoever you are. Now, if you're wanting a bit more, I also do OKR coaching and workshops. So I do these for organizations like whole companies or divisions or large teams. For teams and for individual leaders. But we can do this whether you're already using OKRs or whether you want to start using OKRs, whether the rest of your organization is using OKRs and you want to get started, or whether you're just fresh and you'd like to learn more. The things that I do custom training customized for the organization. I do OKR setting workshops where we set OKRs with you and your team. We do OKR retrospectives, which are super useful for anyone who's already using OKRs and wants to find ways to make them better. And I do direct coaching. I do coaching of leaders. Fundamentally, to me, OKRs are really about leadership. And so that's really fits really well together. So if you're one of these and you'd like to talk about having some work done in your organization, your team, or as an individual leader, please get in contact, richardrussell.co/OKRs. Now, if you're a larger organization and you'd like to do a full OKR implementation, I do OKRs implementation and consulting. I use a method that I call FAST, the OKR FAST. The idea is that there's minimal theory. So we don't have a lot more theory than what we've already had here, but we just do have fun, engaging, relevant workshops that are hands-on, all about your business. It's not about some case study or anything like that. It's about your business. And if necessary, we can set up a custom change program with reusable videos so that we're training on the way that OKRs work in your organization, not some sort of generic way of doing things. We can do train the trainers. Whatever we need to do, we'll do it focused on your goals, because I take the OKR engagements that I do very much like what I recommend my clients do, is focus on the outcome you're trying to get and then figure out what to do. So please get in contact with me, richardrussell.co/OKRs. You'll find me on LinkedIn as well. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much.